Fairy meet. It's me, Rowan Ravenwolf, with Triple Goddess Apothecary and Reiki. I'm here with another book review. I love doing these. I have probably enough occult books that I can do these for many, many years to come. So today's is one that's near and dear to my heart. It is a book, boy, I've had my paperback edition, I've probably had for 7 or 8 years, maybe longer. Oh, I think it's longer. I mean, I was practicing, and it wasn't the first book I had from Scott Cunningham. So I am reviewing a Scott Cunningham book, but it is a book that I know I can't even remember how long it's been. I know I'm trying to remember, like, was I married yet? Was I not? So sorry, you don't need to hear all that. So today's book is the Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs by Scott Cunningham. So I have to first start with Scott Cunningham. And you'll probably hear this again because I am going to review a lot of his books because I have actually read all of his books. Scott Cunningham was very young when he died. He was in his mid to late 30s. And so honestly, it was a very big loss to the occult community. He has such a wonderful legacy, is utterly brilliant, and wow, wouldn't it have been really neat if he had been able to give us more. But he did leave a beautiful legacy and a lot that we can learn from. And yes, the books are fairly old because they're from the 1980s. I don't believe any were published in the 70s. I do believe they were all published in the 80s. So, but they're staples. They're staples because they're covering the basics of a lot of witchcraft. Now, Scott did practice Wicca, so I know some people are not as drawn to Wicca. I consider myself a traditional witch, but his books are a staple. And this is the biggest staple of them all if you are working with herbs. So my forte is working with herbs, essential oils, and crystals. And I do a lot with candle magic and astrology. So you'll see a lot of those different things when on my channel. All my spells either have candles, oils, herbs, and crystals. It's kind of, or a combination of multiples. So this is your staple. It's really great. He actually uses, when you get into them, he gives you the scientific name and the folk names. This you need to know because I will be honest with you. I was looking for Five Fingers grass many, many years ago. I found a spell for what I needed to work on, and it called for 5 finger grass. Well, it's known as many other things. Cinquefoil, tourmaline, not tourmaline, sorry, tourmatel. And I can't remember, I'm just looking real quick to see if it's in a cinquefoil or 5 finger grass in here. Oh, it's under cinquefoil in here. So I couldn't find it. I went to several witchcraft stores, and some of them carry herbs, and some of them didn't know the folk names. And one of them locally here, she happened to know, oh yeah, that's cinquefoil. So cinquefoil's got like a whole big page here, and it gives you all the folk names. So it comes automatically with the scientific name, which is fabulous because you can find it by a scientific name, especially if you want to plant it. It's easier to find that way. But all the folk names: crampweed, 5 finger blossom, 5 finger grass, 5 fingers, goosegrass, goose tansy, moorgrass, silver cinquefoil, silverweed, skunk-filled, and one there's no way I'm going to be able to pronounce. And like I said, some people call it tourmatil. So sometimes if you go into an occult store, they may have it as tourmatil. If they do, most likely if you ask for cinquefoil or 5 fingers grass, they're going to know exactly what it is. If they work with herbs. If they don't work with herbs, they may not. So that's one thing I love about this book, is that if you have an obscure plant, he's got the folk names in here. So, and different areas of the world, we're going to call things differently. So that's what's fascinating. So that's kind of cool. I did read this when I first got it. I actually read the whole thing. I've read the book twice. I use it now as a reference. So you can either read it or just use it as a reference. Or he gives you a lot of really great information in the beginning. So I highly recommend that you read it. And this is my hardback edition. And so I'm going to also teach you a little trick. So yeah, this was published originally. Oh, okay. So the first hard printing was 2019. There's been 27 printings since the first edition, and it is put out by Llewellyn. So you will find it there. Okay, so he goes into, I'm just going to kind of show this. This is my hardback. My paperback one is falling apart because I use it so much. And I was like, well, I'll show the pretty one so you're not all like, oh, this book is taped up, and because my other one is taped up. So all his books that he has are listed. All of the published books are here. Again, he's published so many wonderful, brilliant, brilliant witch. Brilliant, just absolutely brilliant. Okay, so he does have a video on herb magic. I've not seen it. It's one that I do want to see. And I always say that, and then I forget to look. Like, I'll remember now for like a couple hours and I'll forget to look. So the basics. So chapter 1, he goes into the powers of herb. Chapter 2, he goes into the magical ways. Chapter 3 are spells and procedures. And chapter 4 is magical intentions. And then chapter 2 is the health codes used with herbs. And that's in part 2. And that's really important. He doesn't go into using them internally a ton. You've got that area where he's just got like a page on it, but he does go into it, and that is actually in the back. So also part 3, there are the tables and appendix. He goes into gender, planetary rules, elemental rules, magical intentions, colors and magical uses, the glossary. He gives you a place for mail order supplies. So that probably has changed because now we have online internet, and internet was a baby when he had passed away. It was a very, very baby. Magical properties of oils, folk names, and cross reference. That is so tremendously helpful. The folk names cross reference. He's got his bibliography and the index in here. And I love when people use the bibliographies because it's a great way to help us out to grow our knowledge. And I'm trying to get to the bibliography part. Yep. So most of the books are pretty old. You will be able to find them if you're looking, but yeah, his bibliography is it's literally 4, 6, 8. He's got an extensive bibliography. It's over 10 pages. So that's very impressive. So the one thing I like is the chart that's on page 262 there are the health codes. So my paperback copy, because I also use herbs to make teas and tinctures. So if you're into that, you do need to know if you can ingest them or not. So he's got the health codes here. And it literally, like if there's a capital A, basically it says herbs list with these codes should not be taken internally if you have any of the following conditions. And it literally has this. So what I actually did is I photocopied this page and I put it in the front. On my paperback, I put it in the front. So I like glued it down in the front. So I've got it in 2 places. So I have it tabbed, but then I also have it in the front. So it's because I have on my paperback, not only is it taped together because it's falling apart, but I have like all these tabs because herbs that I use a ton and the herbs that like I grow in my garden, I have marked in different colors. So sometimes I was missing the tab on if you could do it internally. And so I love having it taped in the front because then I know I can use it. So that's just like a little trick you can use. So these appendices, I mean, they are just great. He's got the planetary rulers, the folk name area where, and it's, here we go. Like, so here it is. And I'll just like grab one. I'll grab old lady, it's elder, or old gal is elder. So you can look through. So if somebody says, yeah, use some old gal, you'll know that old gal is elder. If somebody says, get some mountain ash is rowan. So that's like the nice thing. And it's extremely helpful because sometimes we will talk to other witches who are just going to throw out like different names because they may be working with the folk names. So, Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. This is a must have by Scott Cunningham. Try to support your local occult bookstores and purchase it there. If not, go to Llewellyn directly. And a lot of times Llewellyn will do like nice sales, or if you spend so much, you'll get free shipping. But try to support the community versus going to the big box stores or the big online stores. It helps keep our community going when we can support our community. But yes, you can get this if you don't want to read every single herb like I did because I'm crazy. Actually, I don't think it's crazy. It's fun. Like, and it helps. Like, I don't remember, I did not memorize them all. Well, not, I'm not good at memorizing, but at least I can go, oh, I'm pretty sure I read that in Scott Cunningham's book. So this is a great one to have. This is kind of the magical herb Bible. This working with, and I know I've done a review on Sandra Kine's Encyclopedia of, her magical correspondences. Those two together are very, very helpful. You will actually learn a lot with both of them, but definitely read part 1 because those chapters have really important information that you can apply to your magic practice. Scott Cunningham, completely and utterly brilliant. He left us with an amazing legacy. So, regardless of if you are Wiccan or not, again, I'm a traditional witch. I consider myself traditional, and I absolutely love all of his work. So, must have, enjoy, especially if you like working with botanicals. Get your Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. If you like this video, hit the like button. It helps so much in the algorithms, and it helps me know that you like the video and would like to see more videos like it. Also, subscribe. I would love to have more subscribers. And for fun, hit notify so that you know when new videos post. As always, have a blessed rest of your day. Blessed be and merry parts.